What's up, guys? I am Dr. Webb, host of I Am Doctor.
And I'm Dr. Maita, your co-host.
This is just a show of two docs just chopping it up about anything and everything from medicine to fitness. Dr. Maita, what are we going to do today?
Today we're going to hit some chest and triceps. It's going to be a quick workout as usual, but efficient at the same time.
All right, let's get it, man.
All right, let's do it.
Yep.
I don't got nothing to say. Now they can't run at my pace.
Usually I wake up like around 5. With you though, we've been waking up like 15 minutes earlier to get here. So usually I try to get to the gym around 5.
Yeah.
Plus or minus like 15 minutes. What about you? When do you wake up?
Lately, for the last 3 months now, I wake up at 4:44 every day.
4:44.
4:44. Crazy. I mean, it's a weird time. It's a different time. You need something to kind of shock you and kind of that's different. Like, how many people wake up at 4:44 in the morning?
Not that much, man. Usually everyone else is pretty much asleep at this time.
Yeah. So you want to do things like that kind of separate you from everyone else. Do something that other people are not willing to do. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I've found to be very successful, and I accomplish a lot in the morning time. So having a family, it's hard to be a surgeon, have a business, YouTube, work out, and then do all these things at once. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to start your day. I can accomplish a lot before my family even wakes up. Before my kids wake up, I've already studied, looked at x-rays, images, prepared for my clinic. What about yourself?
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't really realize that until residency really started going. I started waking up earlier because in anesthesia, you got to wake up early, go set up the room. So I started waking up a little bit earlier and working out because I think there's power and momentum. So when you start your day like that, the whole day goes a little bit smoother. You're not worried about getting your other things done, like studying and finishing your workout. So if I could go back in time in college, pre-med, even in med school, I'd wake up a lot earlier, get things done in the morning, and working out in the morning gives you a little energy boost anyway.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. It changes your whole dynamic of the day. You're not rushing. You're not getting up and feel like you're just tired, sleepy. Yeah. You've been up for 2 or 3 hours.
Yep.
I kind of got that from being in the military. I was in the military for 8 years.
Okay.
And every morning we got up, we did physical therapy. Not physical therapy. We did physical training. But in the Air Force, they call it the chair force. We rode bicycles my first few years, man. So it's not like the Army, Marines, we're going out running. We actually, our physical fitness test, it was a joke. They had us on bicycles. Yeah. But what about you're in med school? Like, how did you balance everything?
One thing is I was super grateful. I actually had my brother with me in med school, so we went to med school together.
He's a doctor too?
Yeah, he's a doctor too. He's a hospitalist. He works, he's already done with training right now, so he's working. But we both went to med school together, and so that was actually really helpful. And I think one thing is just setting expectations with your family, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I have this time to study. Yep. I'm not going to be able to go out to this dinner. I can't go to this occasion. Yeah. You know what I mean? All right, let's go hit the other exercises over here.
Yeah, I agree. You really have to let your friends, family members know that, you're going to be on the grind for years, man.
Yeah.
And they have to understand that, you're going to be busy and tied up. A lot of people don't understand that. It's all about communication. Mm-hmm. Communicating with your family, your wife, letting them know that, you may have to study 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. That's what it takes to be successful. One of the things I did in med school was I planned a lot of things out, and I still do that to this day. So before I even started my week, I knew what I was going to accomplish that day. And whether that was going to a lecture, reviewing some notes, going to a meeting, trying to work out, every single hour of my day was accounted for.
Yeah.
And I think you have to do that to be successful, man, especially in medicine. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Every week, each Friday, I set up for my whole week, right? So on Friday afternoon, I set aside some time and I try to set up my whole week for the next week. And I'll try to write down 3 things for every day to accomplish. And so by default, if let's say I finish those 3 things, I'll pretty much do something that I always need to do, which is, guess what? Study. So if I have free time today and I don't know what to do with it, I'll go study. And that's always gonna benefit me in one way or another.
And that has not changed since been attending. I still have that mentality.
Really?
Yeah, so even though I may not have any tests or exams to take anymore, I still have my oral boards coming up. That's a whole nother different ball game, but I still have that every single second of the day. I'm like, damn, I need to be studying right now.
Yeah.
It feels kind of weird not to be doing it.
So what are oral boards?
So your oral boards, so orthopedic surgery boards, you should become board certified as an orthopedic surgeon. The first board exam is a written one, so that's 8 hours.
Yeah.
You take it after your residency. The second part of that is oral boards, where you go before a group of orthopedic surgeons and they look at all the cases surgeries you have done and they critique them. You got to know your literature, all your documentation has to be up to par. And that's that collection period. Collections, it's like a number of months that they look at the surgeries that you've done. Everything.
Wow.
Look at your complications, how long did you take in surgery, how much blood loss, did you document, did you explain to the patient the risks, benefits?
So they see all that, so you got to keep it documented?
Yes.
Dang, that's intense. I didn't know that.
Very intense. Yeah, but you have a little one, right? How old is your kid?
10 months, and you just have to have, like you said, you got to set expectations, right? So from the get-go, things, I always set my bar. I try not to set it too high, so like where you are just setting yourself up for failure. But with my kid, getting stuff done in the morning frees up a lot of time in the afternoon so we can go on walks. I can spend some time with him and spend some time with my family.
Yeah.
And it just worked out, even in residency.
Yeah.
And we work hard, especially now during COVID.
Yeah.
Like I'm going in on the weekend for extra shifts. I have to go in today after our workout. I have to go help out in the ICU because the medicine team needs our help as anesthesiologists. So we go help with procedures, we go help with intubations, and we take some of their patients.
Yeah. I mean, I get asked that question a lot. Like, you do all these things, like how do you balance work, life, and everything else? I listened to a few videos recently. One was by Jeff Bezos, and he said he doesn't believe in work-life balance. Dave Ramsey says the same thing. They believe in what's called work-life harmony. How successful, how happy, how energetic you are at work will translate over to your home. So one of the things I've been trying to do is just trying to have that harmony between work and life. 15 years and I still haven't figured it out yet. So
Yeah.
that's been the...
Hey, but what would you tell your younger self?
I would say, enjoy the ride. You definitely have to take care of yourself. When I give a lot of talks to...
What do you mean by that?
I give a lot of talks to pre-med students, med students, residents. I tell them that you can't take care of someone else if you don't take care of your own self. So that's like your physical, spiritual, mental. You got to take care of all those things. Suicide rate, physician suicide rate in medicine is astronomical. You have burnout, you have stress. Just because of the environment that we're in, you have all these things. And, it's one of those things that it's just not talked about. It's okay to have those feelings of that you're inadequate or, you don't belong, like that imposter syndrome. It's okay to have those things, and it's okay to talk to someone about it. What are your thoughts? Have you ever felt like that way?
Yeah, man, all the time. I mean, as a med student, believe it or not, I wish I took more breaks, dude. I didn't take enough breaks. Like, I would study really hard, take an exam, I'd go work out with my brother, go play some basketball, and then we just get right back at it.
Can you hoop, bro?
Bro, let's go. You want to get crossed up? On a side note, one goal I've always had is to dunk I'm gonna do it, bro. I really don't care. But what I was saying is, I wish I took more breaks in med school.
Yeah.
And, you know, I see med students now, they're like, oh, I'm taking the day off. And in my head, I'm like, man, they're crazy. How are you taking the day off? Because I never
But you need that
took
day
a
off,
full
though.
day off.
You need that day off.
You do need that day off.
Yeah, but it's hard because I gained like 20 pounds in my first year of med school because I ate unhealthy, didn't work out, and my sole purpose from the moment that I got up to the moment that I went to sleep was to work out, or was to study. Yeah. for you, it's to work out. Yeah, so you were in the gym. That's how did you study in the gym, bro?
Actually, I would listen to Golion in the gym.
Me too, I did that
I would
too.
listen to Golion.
Yeah. What are we doing next, man?
We're gonna finish up this tricep thing, one last set, but
Yeah.
add a superset with it.
Okay. Yeah, so work-life harmony. I think that's the best way to kind of describe it and put it.
I mean, how'd you get through residency? I mean, you guys worked through like 80 hours. Did you have to change some things? How was that?
80 hours was a slow week.
Dang.
For most rotations, there are certain rotations, the schedule kind of fluctuates, but for trauma, you know, I was working 30-hour shifts every 3 days, so that's easily 100 hours a week.
Yeah.
But what I found to be successful and it works, I try to accomplish my work before I get home for the day.
Yeah.
So when I come home, my family, my wife, they have my full attention. I'm not saying I'm perfect at that, and I'm not saying that I do that all the time, but that's something that I'm working on. It's a evolving process. You constantly have to change things up. You have to kind of work on things to try to make it better, and you know, it's an evolving process.
So how do you approach those conversations when talking about your expectations on time and where to draw the line without being, you know, selfish? How do you approach those type of conversations?
That's hard. That's a hard question to answer because, you know, it's a lot of sacrifice to be a physician. And, you know, you want to be selfish, but at the same time, you want to get shit done.
Yeah.
So
straight up, like, you know, sometimes I just lock myself in my room. I'm like, look, if I don't get this done, then I'm gonna be stressed out the whole time we're chilling. You know, that's what I'll tell my family. I'm like, so let me get this done. Let me go through this short time period. That way we can all relax and enjoy our time.
But it's not technically selfish because if you don't do that, then the whole family's gonna struggle.
But people don't understand that though.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why that conversational approach is very key and important. That's why
100%.
Yeah, because in college, you take, 15 hours per semester in college?
It's a joke now that you think about it.
In med school, you're taking 35, 40 semester
Let's
hours.
go hit this set, bro.
A semester, so.
This guy trying to get some extra rest.
So, yeah, you have to plan things out and lay expectations down.
Yeah. You know, look, like he said, it's a learning process. You're not going to become a master at this. I mean, he just said he was listening to Jeff Bezos. He's still learning. It's a learning process. I think when you establish that it's a learning process, the expectations are set and less people will be disappointed. Okay.
What we got next?
We're gonna do this chest press here on this machine. It's nice that we have this private gym. You know, you gotta just make it work. It doesn't have everything, but there's a lot of machines that we can use. So I wanted to ask you, what do you define as success? Is it like having Jeff Bezos money or what?
Well, that's a great. I like that you brought up that because you know, Jeff Bezos is very successful, made a lot of money, but he's also divorced. So being successful doesn't necessarily make you, you know, if you're happy, it doesn't mean you're successful. If you have a lot of money, that doesn't define success to me. Success is, I mean, it's individualized. Everybody, it depends on what you see for yourself as successful. And for me, you know, it's, you know, doing something that I love to do. Doesn't matter how much money I make. It's just, I'm contributing to society and doing something I love to do. For me, that's successful.
Okay.
So getting to that point where I can do those things and not feel like I'm working. It's you know, this is something I love to do. So
interesting.
What about yourself?
I think about this a lot. You know, I listened to a lecture once by Anthony Robbins. I don't know if you guys have heard of him before, but he gives these lectures. They're pretty motivational. And he said that he had someone in his audience that defined success as waking up in the morning and being able to walk on their 2 feet, and they felt like they were successful. And there's another guy on the same podcast or whatever. He said, oh, I have to be sub 10% body fat. I have to wake up at this time, and I have to have $10 million in my bank account, not $6 million that I have right now. So like when you
everybody's different perception of it,
crazy.
Their interpretation and their what they define as success is different. Like what you define as success may be different from what I define as. So
For me, being successful is waking up early in the morning, getting all this done, getting my studying done, having the rest of the day for myself, for my family, for my friends, and my loved ones.
Yeah.
That's success for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome, man. You know, I had a patient that told me once that any day above ground is a good day.
Any day what?
Above ground is a good day. So if you have that mentality, that mindset going throughout your day, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So
what would you tell your younger self right now?
Med school or pre-med?
Your younger self, bro. You could have been 5. No, I'm just playing.
I would say to...
what would you tell 5-year-old Webb, bro?
I would say work out, man, so I can look like Dr. Maita when I grow up. I would, enjoy life, man. Just say, take each day, enjoy every single day. I mean, life is not promised to you. You hear about all these stories of physicians who, you go through these very successful careers. They're doctors for 20 years, but then they end up passing away from cancer. So.
Or suicide.
Yeah, or suicide. It's no one wants to talk about that, but I mentioned that earlier, that you can't take care of other patients if you don't take care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's okay to talk to a counselor, have someone to talk to.
Yeah, that's a huge taboo in medicine, bro.
Imposter syndrome, man, is real. Have you ever felt like you didn't belong?
Yeah, I mean, especially when I first started in a rotation, I'm like, bro, what am I doing here?
You gonna put some more weight on here or what?
Man, I think that's plenty for you right there, bro. You okay, man? I definitely do feel like that. But, I think as a physician, to tell my younger self, I'm going to answer the question I asked you. Tell my younger self, I'll tell myself that as a physician, number one, your life is going to be dedicated to studying. Because when you study, you not only increase your knowledge, of course, but you're able to provide better patient care.
Yeah.
And that's what it all breaks down to.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, you become more confident. So, we could, as physicians, you know this. You read all these books, you get in the OR one day, you see an anatomical deformity that you haven't seen before, and then you have to use your clinical experience and judgment to make a decision. And so behind that decision making is a lot of knowledge that you've accumulated.
Is that what
right?
MD stands for? Make decisions?
Yes, sir.
I thought it stands for make dollars.
Ooh, maybe like 30, 40 years ago.
I'm joking. But yeah. So what would you say was the hardest time throughout your training? Pre-med, med school, residency, most stressful time, and how did you overcome that?
Dang, bro, that's a good question. There's a couple of very stressful times.
Yeah, for me, it was step one, just because I knew I wanted to go in orthopedics, and I knew how important this step one exam was. Very stressful time.
You had to ace that test. Bro.
Yeah, so there were times where I stuck myself in the room for days on end. Yeah. When I came outside one day, after being in my room for 3 days, I had to squint, man, because I didn't see a light for 3 days, which is crazy that you have to do that to be successful. You're doing so much harm and damage to your body, your psychological, your psyche.
People don't know this, but when you sit down for a long period, you're hunched over and you're getting neuropathies here from studying. People don't know that. When I used to study, I used to get these ulnar nerve shooting pains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what was the question you asked real quick?
What was the most stressful time? And then how did you overcome that?
Yeah.
What was the lowest point of your training so far?
I would say when I was studying for my MCAT, I would say it was probably the most stressful time. And it's because I took 2 years off.
Yeah. How many times did you take it?
I took it twice. But the first time I took it, I tried to wing it. Before, I didn't even study. I studied for a week. I thought I could wing it. I was so silly back then, to say the least. And then I took 2 years off because I graduated.
Yep.
And then I was like, okay, I need to get on top of this. I need to study. So I set in my mind that I need to study, but it was so hard because I forgot everything.
Yeah.
And so I had to reteach myself everything. But luckily, my brother was studying with me, and this dude's mad smart. And so he would teach me OChem. He taught me chemistry, like everything. Like, I know you're good at OChem. I know you're good at OChem.
Good at OChem,
The other day you were saying like some carbon bonds and stuff. I had no idea what you were talking
man,
about.
I hated OChem.
But that was the hardest part.
That was the hardest class for me. By far, the hardest class in my undergraduate career was calculus and organic chemistry. And you use none of that information now.
Yeah.
What was the hardest class for you?
I would say organic chemistry.
It's crazy.
Because you know why? It's a cumulative effect.
Yeah.
Because you have to know this concept to know this concept to know that concept.
Yeah.
If you don't master the like basics, then you're gonna be.
I think they should not make us take organic chemistry.
Really?
It's a weed-dog class for a lot of people.
It is, but I think that's why they make us take it.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're onto something. But none of that information, maybe physics and orthopedics when you're talking about all these.
Physics I use in anesthesia.
Maybe you're talking about geometry, all these angles and crap that that we have to do and measurements that we have to take. But organic chemistry? I just don't want people to be. I don't want people to be discouraged when they're struggling as a pre-med student. Like, man, I don't know if I can be a doctor.
Dude, you want me to keep it real with you? I retook OChem 1.
I took it twice. The hardest class ever, man.
Yeah, I retook it.
Man, that was a hard-ass handshake, bro. God damn.
Hey, we gotta get you ready, bro.
Yeah. So that's what I want to get across to pre-med students, man. Like, some students, they think, I don't know if I can become a doctor just because of this class.
Yeah.
Though there's so much to it than one freaking class. So
Here's the thing. It's not about the class.
It's not.
It's about the perseverance you get from mastering that class, right? It's the discipline you get, and it's the study habits you develop.
Yeah.
That's why, I hated OChem. I was like, bro, dude, my first day as a freshman, I went and talked to this pre-med student, and the first day he scared me. He's like, oh, I'm in OChem right now. It's gonna be the hardest class. Since my first day as a freshman, I was scared of OChem.
Yeah, everybody's scared of it, man. It's one of those things that you just have to get through. Just like step one, like going through all those rotations, even though you may not want to go into surgery. Surgery is a brutal rotation as a med student. You just have to get through it.
Oh, yeah.
It's that mindset.
Yeah,
just like waking up in the morning.
Yeah.
You just have to do it. It's a repetition.
It hurts.
It does hurt.
Do it.
Yeah, but you got to do it.
Like this morning, I woke up, I was like, oh, all right. And I texted Dr. Webb. I was like, hey, man. He's like, let's go. He sent me a video. He's like, let's go. I'm here. I was like, man, this guy is crazy.
So as an anesthesia resident, how do you balance your busy schedule, man?
Like I told you, I just set aside some time every Friday to balance my schedule. I set some goals for the week every day. And I'm very disciplined. I do it on Friday. You're like, oh, why do you do it on Fridays? Because Monday is usually like a hectic day. The week is starting. And then on Friday, I can focus on the weekend to really get some stuff done and offload the rest of the work during the weekdays. That's how I do it.
Do you think you have more time, available time to do things as a med student or a resident?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I think you have less time as a resident because you're working 80 hours a week and plus you have to study.
Yeah, and they need you somewhere.
Yes. So you have to be very efficient. You have to be very disciplined. You have to be very selfish with your time.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss a lot of important events, birthdays, things like that.
You're gonna lose a lot of friends, too.
Yeah, but you're sacrificing.
Those people weren't friends, bro.
I've lost a lot of friends along the way.
But you know what? They weren't friends, bro. They were acquaintances at the end of the day. They weren't friends.
You're right.
If they were friends, they would have been ride or die and went through the whole journey with you.
You're right, bro. If you keep giving me a hard time about getting up at 4:44, then we're not gonna be friends anymore. I'm joking with you.
Hey, you're keeping it real, man.
Hey, man, we gotta motivate each other. You gotta have an accountability partner.
Yeah, for sure.
Like your brother was your accountability partner in med school.
I love my brother.
I had 3 girls that I studied with in med school.
Dang,
One
bro.
is a neurologist now.
A nice study group going.
One is a radiation oncologist, and the other one is a urologist.
Bro,
and
why didn't you hit me up in med school? I would have been down to be your friend.
man, we held each other accountable. Like, they held me accountable. They held me accountable. We studied together. They pushed me.
Yeah.
You need someone like that in med school.
So you did study groups?
Yes. But I studied on my own first.
Yeah.
And then I would get together and we would quiz each other and do all these other things. Good.
That's funny you mentioned that. I was going to answer the question with a second answer about the hardest part. It was my first year of med school. And so because I was out of school for a while, I didn't really know how to quote unquote study, you know? So I did a lot of group studying and my grades were just average. It's because when I studied in a group, there was always two really smart people who would make me feel dumb. And then there was always like a slower person. So I was like always in between them. Once I started studying on my own, I did a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, everybody studies a little bit different in how they approach it, man. You got to find out what works best for you.
All right, I think we're all wrapped up.
All right, man, that was a great
That was a
workout.
good workout.
Yeah.
All right, man. Good workout.
You too, man. So what advice would you have to a pre-med college student or medical student or even resident about this whole work-life balance, harmony? What would you give them? What you have for them?
I would say first thing is set expectations from the beginning with your loved ones. Wake up early, get the things that you want to do, get them done early in the morning, and set up a schedule one time every week. Just set that schedule for the whole week.
Yeah.
You don't have to follow it to the T, but doing that will help relieve a lot of stress.
Yeah, I mean, even things that I already accomplished, I still write them out, and I'll just check it off. It's psychological, it's mental to me that I've completed something.
I like that.
So, yeah, I like the idea of writing things out for the week, set goals for yourself, but yeah, your family members have to understand. You have to have someone that's supportive.
Yeah.
If your spouse or you have a girlfriend in med school that is not understanding, they want your full attention 24/7, that may not work, bro.
Yeah, it may not work.
Yeah. But that's the advice that I would have for my younger self or pre-med students out there. This is a lifelong thing that we constantly have to perfect. And I still haven't figured it out yet. I'm down with my training. So.
Me neither.
But yeah, great workout, man.
Yeah, man.
Great conversation with you.
We'll do next week.
Yeah, next
All right,
week,
next
man.
week.
I am Doctor. See you guys on the next one.
All right, see y'all on the next one.
I told him this ain't a game.